Right now, millions of 20-something students are sitting in crowded lecture halls, frantically taking notes on outdated slide decks and accumulating life-crushing debt. They are doing all of this to earn a piece of paper they've been told is their mandatory golden ticket to the middle class. But behind the scenic campus lawns, the historic brick buildings, and the idealistic marketing brochures lies a brutal financial reality. Today, your $100,000 college degree is facing a massive, irreversible expiration date. The traditional corporate ladder is being structurally dismantled by automation and AI, while tuition costs have aggressively outpaced the rate of average wage growth for decades. If you look at the cold, hard balance sheets, you realize something terrifying. American higher education has largely stopped operating as a public center for learning. Instead, it has evolved into a network of hyper-profitable corporations, real estate syndicates, and hedge funds that just happen to have dorm rooms attached to them. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the higher education industry. We are stripping away the institutional prestige, analyzing the back-end administrative spending, and breaking down the exact math of why the system is structurally designed to leave you financially crippled on graduation day. If you are currently enrolled, planning to go, or paying off student loans, you cannot afford to miss this breakdown. To understand why college has become so absurdly expensive, you have to follow the money past the professor's salary. Let's look at the elite tier of higher education, the Ivy League and major state university systems. These institutions hold massive pools of capital known as endowments. Harvard, Yale, and Stanford sit on tens of billions of dollars. To the average person, an endowment sounds like a charitable rainy day fund used to lower tuition for smart kids. In reality, an endowment functions exactly like a massive, tax-exempt Wall Street hedge fund. Universities employ elite portfolio managers to invest this capital into aggressive venture capital, private equity, and commercial real estate. Here is the legal loophole. Because these institutions are registered as non-profit educational charities, their massive investment gains are completely shielded from federal taxes. Tax rate on billions in capital gains is 0%. Yet, despite their untaxed investment portfolios growing by billions every single year, tuition rates continue to climb. If the primary objective of these institutions was simply to educate as many citizens as possible, a multi-billion-dollar tax-free surplus would cause tuition to plummet to zero. But it doesn't. Instead, that cash flow is funneled directly into a massive campus arms race. Universities reinvest their profits into building luxury student unions, state-of-the-art lazy rivers, massive athletic complexes, and high-end dining halls. They are running a luxury hospitality model designed to attract wealthy, full tuition-paying out-of-state and international students, treating education as a secondary monetization feature. When students complain about rising costs, university public relations teams always point to the same excuse: we have to pay for world-class faculty and cutting-edge research. It's a complete lie. If you look at the Department of Education data over the last 30 years, instructional spending per student has remained relatively flat. Meanwhile, administrative spending has absolutely exploded. Higher education has fallen victim to a corporate disease called administrative bloat. Universities have created an endless matrix of vice presidents, associate deans, diversity coordinators, marketing directors, and compliance managers. For every single professor interacting with a student in a classroom, there is a massive army of middle managers sitting in air-conditioned offices, handling administrative bureaucracy. To add financial insult to injury, the traditional professor is facing extinction. To cut costs on the front line while expanding the executive suite, universities have systematically replaced full-time, tenured professors with adjunct professors. These are temporary, underpaid contract workers who often earn less than minimum wage when you factor in grading hours, working with zero job security and no health care benefits. Your $40,000 a year tuition check isn't funding the brilliant mind lecturing at the front of the room. It is funding the salary, bonuses, and retirement packages of the corporate administrative executives managing the university's brand. The financial exploitation doesn't end when you pay your tuition bill. It continues every single semester at the university bookstore. The textbook market is one of the most anti-competitive, predatory cartels operating in the modern economy. A tiny handful of publishing conglomerates completely control the market. Because professors, not students, choose which textbooks are required for a course, students have absolutely zero consumer leverage. You are a captive market. Publishers used to face a massive threat from the used textbook market. If a student bought a biology textbook for $200, they could resell it to a freshman next year for $100, effectively cutting the publisher out of the loop. To destroy this secondary market, publishers engineered a brilliant, highly cynical tech trap, the digital access code. Today, when you take a class, you aren't just buying a physical book. You are forced to buy a single-use digital access code for roughly $150 to $250. This code doesn't just contain the reading material, it contains the mandatory online portal where you submit your homework and take your quizzes. If you do not buy the code, you literally cannot submit your assignments, meaning you fail the course. The code expires automatically at the end of the semester, rendering it completely worthless for resale. It is a mandatory subscription fee to pass a class you already paid thousands of dollars to sit in. The absolute greatest tragedy of the modern university system is that the product they are selling is rapidly deteriorating in value. Higher education operates on an incredibly slow, bureaucratic timeline. It takes years for a university to approve a new curriculum, write a syllabus, and get it accredited by a regional board. In the current economic landscape, technological innovation is moving at an exponential velocity. Software tools, marketing strategies, and data analytics engines are changing completely every 6 to 12 months. This means that if you enter a 4-year degree program for a tech-adjacent field, the information you learn in your freshman year is mathematically guaranteed to be obsolete by the time you wear your graduation cap. You are taking on massive, non-dischargeable debt to learn legacy information. The structural data regarding student outcomes is staggering. Millions of recent college graduates find themselves underemployed, working jobs that do not even require a college degree, while carrying a collective national debt burden of over $1.7 trillion. Unlike a bad car loan or a failed business venture, student loan debt is uniquely protected under U.S. bankruptcy law. You cannot declare bankruptcy to wipe it away. It follows you across state lines, through job losses, and will directly impact your ability to get a mortgage, start a business, or build a family for decades. The takeaway here is not that education is bad. Learning complex skills, mastering critical thinking, and building domain expertise is more valuable today than it has ever been in human history. But you must decouple the concept of education from the institution of the university. If your target career absolutely requires a credential like neurosurgery, structural engineering, or corporate law, then the university remains a mandatory toll booth you have to pay. But if your goal is to build an online business, master software development, design digital infrastructure, or enter the creative economy, paying a legacy institution $100,000 for a 4-year lecture series is a critical strategic mistake. The internet has completely democratized high-tier expertise. The exact same coding documentation used by MIT engineers, the exact same marketing frameworks used by Fortune 500 executives, and the exact same financial models used by Wall Street analysts are available online completely for free or for the price of a cheap textbook. Your success in the modern economy does not depend on a gold-embossed piece of paper signed by a university president. It depends entirely on your personal portfolio, your actual proof of capability, and your relentless self-discipline to build real-world assets. Stop funding the administrative executive suite. Take control of your own education, build skills that the market is actually desperate to buy right now, and refuse to enter the rat race in debt. If this data-driven look at the reality of the university business model gave you some much-needed perspective, smash that subscribe button, drop a comment down below with your thoughts on the modern degree trap, and I'll catch you in the next video.